Come on,
There we
brother.
go.
We got,
We did
man,
it.
we got this.
We made it.
We made it to Thursday, September 11th. It's 24 years, huh? I want to give a moment of silence to the individuals that we lost that day, right? It was a horrible day. And just let's take a moment of silence. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. All right. It's again September 11th, 2025. And I came up with this a while back. I want to say over a year ago, I had the thoughts of this. I kept asking individuals for what this was, for what this is, what we're going to be here today with. I'm going to ask Travis to share. If you got the slides, brother, can you share them?
I don't have them at the moment. I was
Not at the
actually having
moment?
trouble
All right.
finding them. Yeah, sorry,
I got
man.
you, brother. I got you. No problem. I got him here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let me introduce what this is and what we are going to be doing for the next 2 hours, or a little less than 2 hours now, right? But you know what I'm talking about. And this is the importance of role playing as a recovery coach. And like I said, I spoke about this and I was trying to see if I get individuals to get interested into coming up with a webinar. And nobody really wanted, nobody was interested as I was interested, right? And then I told myself, I said, maybe it's me that has to do this, right? Maybe we teach best what we most need to learn. And maybe it's me that I need to learn role playing. I don't know. So what we're going to do today, and I didn't really come up with a big description of what it is, right? My description is this: developing skill, confidence, and creativity by stretching your art, right? As a recovery coach. Oh, do I got to dance? Sorry about that. All right. Oh, this is throwing me off. My phone is blowing up. And it might be somebody that's trying to get into this class. All right. So we're gonna be discussing this, but before we get into it, right, into that nitty gritty, what I'm gonna ask Travis to do, and I see that I think there's 2 centers here, right? So what I want you to do, Travis, is put individuals in breakout rooms, right? We're gonna start this off raw, and we're gonna get into this real quick. And what we're gonna do is, I want you to see if you could put the 2 centers together, right? And I want you to just introduce yourselves. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to introduce yourselves. And Travis, if you could put them in the smallest groups, even if you can pair them up for now, right? It'd be better because, and I see individuals with their cameras off. I'm not asking you to turn your cameras on, but please introduce yourselves. Just get on the mic and just introduce yourselves. And how you introduce yourselves is completely up to y'all, right? You have 3 minutes to do so. So it's a minute and a half. And I know the centers are going to be a little, so you guys are going to pick who's going to be the one in the center to introduce. What I want the rest of y'all to do in the center is actively listen. Give me a thumbs up from both the centers if y'all can hear me. I see one center can hear me. I don't know if that other center can hear me. Danbury, are you in the house?
Ready,
I just want to
Mike?
make sure. I want to make sure that they're there and they're going to participate. And I don't want the other center not to be.
Yes, we just explained that to them, that we have this presentation from Michael Serrano. We're looking forward to it. And yes, Michael, DRCC is in the building.
Robert, thank you. I appreciate you, brother. All right, 3 minutes. We'll be back. Y'all being here. Everybody's back. How was it? Awesome. Question for you guys. Leaving that conversation, right? Had you wish you had said something different? Or listened a little bit more deeply? And I know, listen, granted, the center is kind of hard, right? Maybe it's a little echoey to hear people. You got to stand close, right? But that's when those skills come in. You zone in, you got to zone things out. I worked in the emergency department for 3.5 years. In a crisis room, you got everything happening around you. And you need somebody to listen in and zone in, right? And how many times I left the room and said, damn, I could have said this. Right? What are your thoughts? Give me some hands. Use the chat function as well. If you don't want to share, but let's get some virtual hands up and get some. How's that feel, right? Could you said something a little different? I don't know. Pete, I knew you were going to be the first one because I know you got that energy, brother. Look at behind you. Look at your background.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. You know, I was just thinking maybe because of, I've been doing facilitating for a while, getting a lot of practice. It felt kind of natural to me, and then someone modeled to me yesterday. I shadowed someone at the emergency department, and they were sharing with me kind of how they approach, the patients there, for recovery. And they have a very calming, very slow approach. They're not trying to rush through anything. They'll listen to their story, and and that's different for me because I tend to be in a rush. So
Yeah.
I've been when I saw it modeled for me, I thought to myself, I'm gonna try that more. So that for me felt good, and plus Erica was just kind of just open and new, and so there was no resistance. At least I didn't sense it. So
Awesome. That's cool. And a lot of people raise your hand. You don't have to raise your virtual hand, but put your hand in front of the screen. Who's taking the Recovery Coach Academy? Right? So you guys are some good coaches, right? That exactly, you're prepared, right? For if somebody goes, action, you're ready to do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Who else? How was it? I'm not in a room full of shy people.
I found myself, I was trying to be as detailed as I can, as quickly as I can, so I can paint a complete picture of myself. But also recognizing that I don't take up a lot of time so folks can explain their part of who they are as well to me. So I was a little bit more detailed. I don't have any regrets as far as what I missed, but I tried to paint. I've done this before, so I have a little blurb that I can just say quickly to complete my thought process and to complete a picture of myself and what I do and who I am.
That's your elevator pitch. That's awesome. Thank you. Who else? Let me see if there's some things in the chat. It was pretty easy and open. I have, all right. Technical challenge, had 2 people. All right. Well, Betty, what do you got?
I didn't have time to say anything. I guess I went into coach mode where I'm asking open-ended questions of the people that are the 3 people that were in there. So So David didn't get to hear anything other than my name. And then
Just
it was
your
time
name?
to leave.
What would you have said?
Me? Oh, I
Mhm.
just would have said something about how happy I am to be here. That I need this class to be able to interact a little bit stronger with the recoveries, and that I'm happy to see everybody. That's pretty much about it. It just would have been a real quick, brief thing.
You had it in your head ready to say.
I did. I had it in my head. It was ready. Actually, we call it the 3-minute elevator speech.
Okay.
But if you
What
only have
floor is
3
that though?
minutes,
Hold
you
up.
have to.
What floor is that? Because 3
What floor is
minutes.
that? I'm making it all the way up to the 11th floor with about
Oh,
3 or 4 people getting in and getting off at the same time.
awesome. Thank you, Betty. David.
Hey, good morning. I was in Betty's group, and I understand elevator speeches. I've learned to truncate and focus on key pieces, and so it was really easy at first. We looked at each other. We're like 3 minutes. I have basically 1 minute and 30 seconds to say what I want to say. I hit my about 1 minute 40, and Betty started talking, and then at a minute almost 55, a third person was sent into our room, and Betty and I kind of both looked at her and said, "Hey, what's up?" And she was busy working on childcare stuff and was able to say about 30 seconds of stuff, leaving Betty basically in the cold. So that it was a challenge, but I mean, it's not that it's not manageable. Learning how to hit our major bullet points that we want to share about ourselves or recovery, whatever our experience. That's the easy part. Sometimes working with life in general, how technology works, how people come in late to meetings and stuff like that. That's just learning to live with life. So frustrating, but I mean, that's the way life goes sometimes.
Thank you, David. I did something on purpose, you guys. I started and I didn't introduce my partner, right? And I did it on purpose in the sense of I could have did that this way, and I didn't. And that to me is important, right? If we prepare, and that's to show you. But Travis, introduce yourself, brother.
Hey, everybody. Good to see some familiar faces. What's up, David? Thanks for the wave. I appreciate it. Hi, Pete. Hey, Delia. Hi, everyone. Victor, good to see you. My name's Travis. It's funny we talk about we have like our elevator pitch as a facilitator. I say the same thing always and all the time. So I'm going to try my best to mix it up a little bit here. Stretch if you can. So my name is Travis Caoch. I'm a RCPF here at CCAR. I have been with CCAR for coming up on 5 years now. Absolutely love what I do. Love being in rooms like this with you, building this army of recovery coaches, so to speak. Life's good in my world. I'm getting married in 1 month. I live here in Ellington, Connecticut. Thank you, guys. Ellington, Connecticut, with my fiance and my beloved cat D, who, Michael, I know you guys are boys. He wanted to sleep instead of coming to your webinar. So sorry he can't be here. I'll let you know you said hi.
Send him my love.
Anyway, that's me. Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. So, and I'll introduce myself. I know I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, but my name is Michael Serrano, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. And for me, that means I haven't used a mind-altering substance since October 1st, 2014. I'm going on 11 years, God willing. And just being with CCAR, right, as this in this team is awesome, right? And we get to do these experiment webinars, right? But it ain't us, right? We can prepare as much as we want. I have all this prepared for you guys, but it's truly on you all. right? You guys got value with the recovery coaching. Y'all love coaching, I know it, right? So this piece, I look back at webinars in the past, and I haven't seen a webinar yet about role playing, right? So I was curious, and like I'm curious right now to know, what is role playing? So let's use the chat function, or even raise your virtual hands to give one sentence of what you think role play is. What do you think it is? And we can get a few hands, but then please use the chat function aggressively, right? Type in and even if you have more than one thought of what role play is to you, what is it, right? Because hopefully today, by the end of this session, we can have a more understanding, right, of what is role play, right? Maybe I'm thinking of it one way, but I want to hear your thoughts. A space to practice my art growth, a way to explore challenges. It's experiencing what we learned, being able to practice skills, demonstrating and modeling of behavior and attitudes. I like that. I always thought of it like that, like a demonstration, right? A way to develop confidence in coaching. Learn new skills before you practice in real case scenarios. Like that. The dojo. I like that. David, you gotta unmute yourself and explain that a little bit more. I kind of know what you're talking about, but please explain it.
A quick dive, a quick explanation. We go to classes. Let's throw it into martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
We learn new moves. We practice in a safe environment where we will not hurt one another, and where we can explore and connect to these physical movements, emotional, mental movements in this case. And the dojo is like the home for your children. It is the place where we can make all the mistakes and not hurt ourselves, hopefully not hurt other people, and basically hone those skills so that when the moment comes, we're prepared. And that's the 2 minute.
Thank you for that, brother. There's some more things. Way to develop your art of recovery coaching, putting yourself in a role, learn and be better. Help build skills in communication, problem solving, potentially challenging situations. And opportunities to use our skills on a border population, adapting a gist for a specific goal or scenario. These are good. Anybody care to raise their hand and say anything? Somebody that maybe didn't share in the chat. What is role playing for those of you that if you just came in? That's what we're discussing. Well, if nobody wants to say anything, oh, Priscilla, go for it.
So I was thinking it's always something new. So, those conversations, this year I did almost all of the trainings that you guys offer, almost all of them. And always I call them lessons learned, things that we're doing. So it would be nice. I don't have another facilitator here, but like all these pop in the things, like the role playing of, what do you do in that situation? Of course, sometimes I just process it solo at home. Like what would I do different next time? And I'll just make a little note in there. And exactly the one I hadn't facilitated this training since 2017, and I just did it a few weeks ago. It was the spirituality and recovery coaching. So, I know what the book says and how to do it. And like it would be that would be one that I would bounce off someone else. How did you do in this situation? Or, how the feedback comes in those. And, that's more the facilitating thing. And I just make little notes in my book and, and I just know what I would do different. But it would be nice to have, I do not have a team partner at this time, so I'm solo. So it's kind of nice to maybe connect with some of the folks here and maybe have this pop-up role playing go and role playing as a facilitator. How would you handle this? Or handling those conversations with that. But it's always new things to learn and new things to call it practicing my art from you guys is why I like to come here.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Priscilla. David, you had your hand up, and then Brandy.
Yeah, really quick. I love role playing because how it helps me as a coach and just in life in general. I will always, in the role play experience, take the role of the most difficult thing that I have trouble with. So, a quick example, I have a difficulty working with people who are in the active addiction state and are, cannot hear, cannot listen, cannot be present. And so I want to see how my friends do this, how they handle this. And so I'll take that person. I have a challenge with Christian nationalism. I will take that attitude because I want to see how other people handle these things, because in me, they're a trigger and I come back combative, and I recognize that these are the people I need to connect to and need to be connected to the most. And I have to get over those challenges so that I can open my ears, I can listen, and I can shut down that wall of whatever it is, those biases, and let that person be present, be heard, and be cared for, even if I strongly don't like what they speak or represent.
Discover and manage your own stuff. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Brandy.
It's okay. That's why I put my hand out. He kind of covered some of the things I was going to say.
All right. All right. Thank you. All right. I want to give a definition of role play that I found that I really liked, and it gave a good explanation of what it is. Can I have somebody volunteer to read this? Yes, Travis, I'm going to ask for somebody to voluntarily read this, man. Come on, don't be shy. Maybe somebody with a nice singing voice. Wanda.
Good morning, everyone. I can't sing for beans, but I can read.
Awesome. That's good enough.
Would you like me just to read that sentence there?
Yes, please.
Okay. A simulation of real life interactions to build confidence and skills.
And I've seen a few people put that. Wanda, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've seen a few people put that in the chat, right? So kudos. That's the best definition that I can grab, right, from somewhere. And I just got it from Google, I'll be honest. Right? Sorry that I didn't give Google their props. But it's just a simple definition, right? But what are your thoughts, right? As far as what you see here, and maybe to a person that didn't put anything at all, right? WCC says, I like it. But who in WCC likes it? The whole WCC? Or is it somebody in particular? All of us. Yeah, y'all roll like that. Y'all tight community. And I respect it. I love you guys. So yeah, this is the definition that I can find that is the best and the simplest one. And then to the nitty-gritty of it, I asked myself, why this matters, right? Why does this matter? And then I came up with this next slide. So Travis, bring us there. Can I have somebody else, maybe with not a singing voice, but that likes to read also? I'll read this to us.
Hi, Richard. Raise your hand, Richard, so you'll see us. No, on the thing. Go down.
Hi, good morning. This is Rich from the Danbury RCC. I'd like to read.
Go for it, Rich. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Why it matters. Practice, confidence, competence. Practice helps you to get better and feel more confident. Safe space to experiment. It's okay to try things out, even if you mess up. That's how you learn. Explore blind spots and reactions. We'll also notice things we didn't notice or see before, like how we feel or what we do without thinking.
Awesome. So what's the one thing, since y'all still unmuted, right? What's one tool, right, that if you look at this, can you recognize a tool that recovery coaches use? That's kind of more like this, and I'll break it down for y'all after, if you can guess what it is. Can anybody guess?
How do you practice confidence and confidence?
Yeah, so there's a tool that recovery coaches use, right? They carry around this tool. Can you, it's okay if y'all just say, I don't know.
It's not coming to us, no.
No,
Love it. I love it. Listen, I love honesty because this is how we learn. This is how we learn, right? You can say, no, I don't care. No, don't tell me.
I'm sure if you tell us, we'll know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And here it goes. The three-legged stool.
Yes.
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 Right? Now look at the first one and let's break it down. I got actively listening here. If I practice helps you get better and feel more confident, right? You got to listen in that situation. The safe space to experiment, that's that safe space to ask those questions. Because if let's say me and Travis are going to prepare to talk to somebody and we talk it out, right? And we practice these questions. That's that right there. We're experimenting for a safe space. And then exploring blind spots and reactions, that's discovering and managing your own stuff.
That's right.
Very good.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I seen this, I was like, that's role playing. We constantly use the three-legged stool, and I constantly tell individuals that if you can really see this, right, carry that three-legged stool because you can sit on it. And when we sit on it, it gives us an opportunity to look around and treat others as a resource. We have to use that tool right. That's like grabbing a hammer and trying to use it as a screwdriver. It's just not going to happen, right? We have this three-legged stool and we have to use it for what it's worth. We can sit on it. Yeah, we'll carry it around. It's a very light stool. But when we sit on it, we're treating others as a resource. And it gives us an opportunity to practice, right? Any thoughts on this? Anybody else see the three-legged stool? Or maybe they don't. Maybe you guys don't. I don't know. I'm trying to learn. So please, let's learn.
Travis, can you repeat the question, please?
Oh, it wasn't Travis that asked the question.
Michael, sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Listen, I don't mind you confusing with my brother. It's all good. What I asked is this. Can you did anybody else see the three-legged stool in this before I even said? Ernest. Go for Ernest. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Good morning. Yeah, we use, when I, at the CCAR trainings and modules that, we attend, it's always, an exercise in one part of the three-legged stool. It's a
Mhm.
constant reminder that that is the core and the base of our recovery coaching. So
Yeah.
I see that in all the trainings and modules that I've done, and even at the Recovery Coach Academy. So thank you.
Thank you, Ernest. Let's look at this next thing, right? The next slide that I have here, it's common fears and myths, right? And I see this a lot in the coach in RCA, right? We do role playing at the end of the training. And these are some things that I've heard individuals, me as a participant, right? Not even me as a facilitator, because a facilitator, you're not really listening. You're not in the background. You're not going in these breakout rooms with individuals. But me as a participant, these are some things that I've heard, right? It feels fake. I don't want to perform. I'm afraid I'm gonna mess up and then think that people are gonna laugh at us, right? And we're resistant to that. Is there anything else that you can think of that somebody would say, or even yourself? Can you think of something that you said when somebody said, we're ready to role play, and they're gonna set you up, and we're gonna put you in, and they're giving you instructions to do so. And while you're preparing to go in these rooms, what are you thinking? What's going through your mind?
Freaked out, Mike. It's me.
What was that?
Freaked out.
Say that one more time.
I said I freaked out. I said, wow.
You freaked out?
In front of all these people, I'm going to perform.
And I'm assuming you did it in person.
Yes, it was when I did the Serpa class 2017.
Wow.
So it was like 25 students and the facilitator and all said that. But yeah, it went well.
All right. Were you the only one that felt that way, you think?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It was other people too, like they mentioned, but yeah, it was like first time for me was like doing this something, like this.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you, Aaliyah. Hope you're well, brother.
Yeah.
Who else? Anybody else? Come on, I know none of y'all was like, put me in. Yeah, I'm ready to do this. Pete.
Mike.
Yeah,
Mike,
I'll
we got
share.
DRCC.
Oh, go
Wait,
ahead.
give me 1 second. Let Pete share, and then we're gonna go to you guys, okay?
Thanks, Michael.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I just remember thinking to myself, I don't ever really like role playing. It's the middle one. I don't want to perform, but I'll do it. And I just wanted to kind of notice the analogy that David offered, because I'm going to use that now in my facilitating, that it's like a dojo, right? You teach, you try, then you refine, right? So role playing is the try, so I think it's a good setup for people to just let them know why we do it, because a lot of times all I've ever heard is, oh, role playing time. And the first time I did it was in front of 45 people, and it's like, man, I mean, luckily I'm comfortable around people, but if you're not, that's just anxiety creating. So I like the setup of like, this is where we get to practice. You're not expected to be perfect. So I appreciate, this particular slide, because I'm guessing everybody feels that on some level. Thanks, Michael.
Oh yeah, thank you. DRCC and then Betty.
Right, so I was thinking, more along the fear of public speaking and being vulnerable.
Thank you. You could get yourself, you can make yourself sick doing that, right? Like all of a sudden I don't even feel good. Oh, I gotta stand in front of this crowd. Thank you so much, DRCC. Betty.
No, for role playing for me is an anxiety reliever. because sometimes, you know, like everybody said, it allows me to make mistakes. I
Mhm.
don't have to be perfect. I don't have to say everything exactly correct.
Mhm.
You know, when everybody joins in, is, you know, sometimes I feel, oh God, this is stupid. I don't want to do this stupid stuff. This is just ridiculous. Adults don't act this way, you know, things like that. But, you know, it does. It's, for me, it is an anxiety reliever. It allows, like they said, it allows those mistakes to be made. It works great with interventions. Great with interventions, role play does. Because it allows family members to play out exactly what they want to say, or it allows the recovery to actually state some of the reasons and stuff without having anybody actually bark back at them, you know. That's it.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. David and then Jeffrey.
You know, I'm going to step out of my echo chamber. I want to hear Jeffrey's, and if Jeffrey doesn't hit what I say, then I'll chime in. Cool?
Cool. Cool. Thank you, David.
Thanks, David. I'll put a lot of pressure on me there. So I can appreciate the slides. I don't want to perform, and I'm afraid to mess up. And I think once you preface it, the audience say you're going to do some role playing, you can automatically feel the anxiety because you have folks in there that are very introverted, and you have folks that are extroverted that are don't mind, and the fear of judgment. But what I do preface it before we do role plays, just to say, hey, like you've been saying this, Michael, this is practice. This is a good way to develop your skill set. No judgment zone here. We preface it, all those things. And, you know, we ask for permission as well. I ask them for permission if they're okay with it as well. So I do myself feel anxiety for them because I know this is going to be tough when we're role playing. But the goal is to get them comfortable in their skin and to be comfortable with create a safe environment for them to be vulnerable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you, Jeffrey.
That was awesome, Jeffrey. And you didn't hit my ideas, so I'm glad to give you the space. As the addict, it's a trigger. I'm being put on the spot, driving anxiety. As a coach, as a person in recovery, it's the addict. I love and crave attention. And then on top of it, I can spin it into what I am learning to develop in myself, that we, even as adults, learn more through play than we do through institution and organization, because play gives us a safe place to be vulnerable, make mistakes, and learn without that anxiety and that pressure of this will be tested on in the next 30 minutes. Take good notes and pay attention. Our brains go, when we're playing, we are open, and it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you for your thoughts. Appreciate it. Delia, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually on cloud nine. I know you see my grandbaby. I had my
Congrats.
first grandbaby, guys.
Congrats.
She's 1 month today. Um, so all of these things, I can resonate with all of these things. All of them, I feel like I'm being fake. I don't want to perform, and I'm always afraid I'm gonna mess up. And my anxiety goes through the roof. And when my anxiety goes through the roof, I forget things. I forget things that normally that just come normal, like normal you just go into like motion, right? It comes automatically, when you're when you're helping someone, it just comes automatically. The things that you learn and things that you do on a daily basis. And but when I role play, I forget everything. I just go blank. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna go. Just like when I'm taking a test, I go blank. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it happens. It
so
happens to
so
people.
these things I do. These are my weak points I have to work on. And I'm as I do, I'm getting better, but it's still hard for me. Yeah.
That's self-awareness, and where do you take that, right? After you learn what you self-aware of, and that's growth. So
Yeah.
now you're self-aware of it, right? And it's like you're gonna take steps to do better. So
Get
thank you.
better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
appreciate that. Dr. Parkman. Are you
Everybody
still there?
during the day. I just wanted
Thank-
just to say something about role play. I take the doctor off and I become Lady T, and it seems like they can relate better with Lady T or Keisha. For some reason, when we're in the role play, it gives more practical application for me to not be, so I can be more transparent and also connect with the person better where they are. So when Keisha gets upset and busts into the room, they can connect with the anger. They can connect with the anxiety, all the things that happens when you have real life stuff. So for me, role play is one of my key what I call modality to connecting with people in my whole group. It seems like it clears everything, and they always give good input on the connection that was made, as opposed to be a Dr. Parkman. But when Lady T came in the room and worked the room, they could connect with me and understand I have to make a change because love has made me change my behavior. She came looking for me, Lady T, not Dr. Parkman, but Lady T came in the room. So it's like, it depends on the culture. It depends on the ability to present the information, and also to make the connections with the people that are in the role play. Because sometimes my role play have it up to 10 to 15 people in there. So I just wanted to let you know that right there is the connection to make them feel a part of the recovery room. I mean, the recovery supports that's in the room. And some people work through writing. They said, I had a problem. And when you did that role play, that helped me in a different way. So practical application and role play really works for me. I just thought I'd just say that, and that insight that you gave was really good about listening. So I had a chance to listen to everybody. I had a chance to do my own little assessment of who would I put in certain areas of the role play to improve or to support them. And once I did that, it seems like my whole class changed after role play. And I thank God for CCAR putting that part in there. It's really important.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Parkman. Danbury.
Hey, Mike. For me, I don't know, role playing, I still get nervous every time someone asks me to role play.
Every time.
It's almost like I go through like an imposter syndrome before when they ask, like, oh, we're breaking out or we're gonna role play, because I like get in my own way. I'm like, I'm not gonna know what to say. I'm not gonna know what questions to ask. And I future trip over it. But then once I like get into the role play and we begin having a conversation, like a genuine conversation, it kind of flows a lot easier and better than I think in my mind before the role play actually begins. And for me, like just doing it over time and time again and having that same experience, like, oh, I'm actually doing better at this than I thought, kind of like helps me combat that stinking thinking before when I hear the word role playing. And I guess the jitters could be nice too, because sometimes going into a role playing or working with a recovery and feeling nervous, like how am I going to help them? What do I do? That keeps it genuine and keeps me engaged and interested in seeing what they have to say. I just got to step myself out the equation.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. And I love that you said that imposter syndrome, right? Because it's gonna weave into this next thing, right? That we're gonna be talking about. Travis, can you share the next slide right quick? So common strengths, right? And truths. It's not about getting it right, it's about getting it better. Practice makes presence, right? So I started thinking about some tools. I was like, well, we got the three-legged stool for the tools, the general tools as a recovery coach, right? This is what we do as a recovery coach. But then as a when you role play, if you break it down in a tool setting, right? Now, we broke it. I saw this 3 structural tool that we're going to talk about now. Travis, can you bring the next slide up? Who's heard about role plays? Yes, we've heard about it, but have you ever heard of real play and replay? Show of hands, have you ever heard of this tool right here? These 3 things. And it's okay if you haven't. I didn't. Before I got into doing this whole webinar, I was doing my homework on something on these tools, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And this is something that we do on an everyday life, right? Travis, give me the next slide. We're going to break this down and bring it to you one by one. And what is role play? Can I have somebody read? I'm going to need actually 3 volunteers. So can I have 3 individuals raise their virtual hands? First one's going to read role play. Don't everybody jump at once now. Yeah, Wanda, Priscilla, we need one more person. Don't be shy. Delia, thank you. Wanda, please, can you read role play for us?
Sure. This is when you pretend to be someone else, like when you play doctor or teacher with your friends. You act like a different person to practice what you might say or do.
Can we relate to that? Right? It's pretty common is what we do. The next one, Travis. Real play.
Play. This is when you play for real, like actually playing a sport or a game where you're just yourself and it's real.
You playing that role, you're in a basketball team, you're a point guard. But it's you. And guess what they do before the real game? Practice. You see what I'm saying? Now let's look at the real play. I mean, replay. I'm sorry. The next one, Travis.
This is when you do something again, like watching a video of your soccer game and playing it back to see how you did it and what you can do better next time. A lot of athletes do this.
Yeah, they do. And to be honest, a lot of athletes see other sports, like they'll see recordings from other teams to see how they play, right? That's a smart thing to do too. Having a recording of a conversation to see how that plays, right? And that could or maybe record yourself, right? And get it like in the recovery community center. You have that opportunity where you have these coaches volunteering, right? Have a room, record yourselves, and then play it back. And then you'll notice, maybe I could have did that a little different, right? And this is how we learn. What are your thoughts? What I would do, Travis, can you stop sharing for a second? So as we just gone through these 3 tools, right? And this is something that I just learned and I'm still learning from it, right? So I'm not an expert and I'm not trying to act like an expert of this, right? I'm just trying to learn from this because I think if I learn from a perspective of 29 individuals, right? Me being 30 And then more than that, because DRCC and WRCC are in here with extra individuals. So we're deep in here. We're like 40 or better, right? We got these different perspectives. And as a coach, I need to know these different perspectives. Am I going to agree to everything that people say? Is there going to be times that people are going to piss me off? Yeah. Right? But I got to discover and manage my own stuff. And I got to bring back to why, and the root of it, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Right? And if I have value to something and I want to practice and be the best I can be in this position, right? Then I have to like get out my comfort zone. I woke up this morning real nervous. And then I asked myself, why am I so nervous? And it's the only thing is I wanted this to play out right. Yeah, I used the word play. I wanted this to play out right. Am I going to watch this again? Go back and replay and watch this again. Yeah, I am. Because I'm going to learn from that, right? I'm not going to do this perfect. And this is an experiment. Everything's an experiment here as a coach, right? And this is how we learn. We'll do that again now. We don't need to do that again, right? So what are your thoughts? I like to hear thoughts. There's a lot in the chat, but I want to hear voices. Pete, thank you.
Yeah, I'll share a little bit. I put something in the chat because I was thinking about replay. I really like that. I was thinking, I don't know if we're allowed to record some of our facilitations. I mean, if we get everybody's permission, I'm guessing yes. What I like to do, and I try to do it within 48 hours after I've facilitated a class, is do a lessons learned. And it's like a set of questions that causes me to replay, what occurred. And then I document all those different, experiences. I look at, 3 things we did well, 3 things we didn't do so well, kind of other things that affected the training. What could we do better and what's working? In general, those are the questions I try to answer. And it causes me to replay. And I feel like it does make us better for the next time, because then I get to deliberate that information with my co-facilitators. And then we're more aware the next time we roll around and do another training. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate that. Yes, again, this is all a learning process. Victor, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's better if you don't make stuff up, but you bring in real life scenarios. And if you haven't worked with clients, that you go out there and you get your feet dirty so you can bring in real life scenarios. For example, someone is kicked out of a sober living they got mad because someone stole their stuff and they need a bus ride across town and all these other things happen. And now their recovery is in jeopardy and you want to pull $20 out of your pocket to help them get to their next step. You have an ethical challenge, you have a thing with your client, you have all these other things, and you want to see how this person is sort of going to react, or just what would the client do in that sort of a situation where they're super frustrated, they're tested at their limits, and they didn't know that they were going to face some consequences where every place has different rules and regulations that they're going to bump into. And so I just think it's important to bring in real life scenarios from the city that you live in that people are really going to encounter to really sort of set them up for success versus role playing some Disneyland situation that they're never going to encounter in their own personal recovery.
Yeah. Thank you. And I had, for 3.5 years working as an emergency department recovery coach, I had the privilege to take training. And then right after taking training, they set me out to go to the emergency department, right? So in the morning, I had these trainings and then I had to work in the afternoon. And I remember taking some advice from role plays, right? And then it'd be a coincidence and like, wow, this is really happening right now, right? And I'm so glad, I am so grateful that I'm a little bit prepared for it, because had I not taken these trainings, right? And they had me the keys and they say, hey, Michael, Go in the emergency department and go help as much people as you can, right? Without all these practices, without the training, without role playing and anything. And then I go in there and it's like likely for me to fail, right? Because I don't have the tools to be successful. I kind of look at it like you sending a carpenter out and don't give him any type of tools or supplies and be like, yo, go build me something, right? You have to have something in order to do that. And I think these role plays play a major role in it. I'm gonna put that this last slide before we get into something that I've got prepared for you all. But that next role playing builds coaching muscles. So I kind of looked at it like that, right? Like an exercise. So if an exercise, you know, when you exercise, you build your muscles and you get stronger with practice, right? And these are some things that after a while, when you start role playing, these are some things that amplify, right? Your senses that amplify, actively listening, asking powerful questions, managing reactions, boundary settings, and then being able to hold that space for somebody, right? And not afraid to have conversations, right? When somebody asks you to have those conversations. What are your thoughts? Thank you, Ruth. What are your thoughts so far? Pete.
Yeah, Michael, the asking powerful questions, that's equivalent to MI, right? Motivational interviewing. And
Yeah.
I always thought when I first started in this work, I thought, yeah, I ask good questions because I ask a lot of questions. But quickly learned that it's about asking the right questions the right way and relevant questions, right? Because, you know, kind of like what Travis touched upon, you know, we can do a template, but we're dealing with people here. So, you know, we're adjusting to their personality, maybe their words that they use, because not all words, you know, kind of resonate with people. You kind of have to figure that out, and listening helps definitely, but then it also helps you formulate asking the right questions. So one of the ways I practice is there's this organization, the ATTC, Addiction Technology Transfer Center. They offer a lot of free training. They're a nationwide organization. Where you can practice motivational interviewing. So I agree with you is what I'm basically saying. It's one of the ways I role play. Actually, they actually will have you share a scenario, or sometimes they'll create a scenario and then we all kind of talk it out. And so we're going through all that.
Yeah. And it's in the name too, motivational interviewing. What are we doing? We're trying to motivate. And that, if we look at it like that, and what we're trying to do is motivate, how do you motivate? How do you got to look at your best friends or family members that you really hang out with? Like, how do you motivate them to, like, even like, if you, let's say you plan a cookout or something, right? How do you motivate them to even come over to your house, right? How do you motivate them, period, right? Because we have to do that for individuals, especially individuals that don't feel like they can't even motivate themselves, right? And this is the people that we serve, right? That sometimes they feel like, sometimes they got a blanket over their face and they're like FTW. And it's an acronym for something that I'm not going to repeat, but hopefully everybody will know what I'm talking about. But yeah. And then when you tell them that you're there to help them, it changes, right? And if you bringing something to the table, right? And if you're prepared for having a conversation, if you're prepared to do these role plays, I think we can serve individuals a lot better, right? Somebody in Danbury said they feel more confident. They even, right, already feel more confident as a recovery coach in progress. Actually role playing right now. Look at that. Right now. Games. Yeah. Great reminder. I'm trying to like Straight my eyes, reminder, so appreciated that the managing reactions and boundary setting as parts of role play. Free is not free. You and I pay a to training via tax dollars. The trainers, Ruth, you know what I'm talking about. Correct. Introduce your support. Oh, okay. Work, recovery, village choice. All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get into some role playing of ourselves. Yeah, are you gonna go back to that slide and be like, no, I don't want to role play. I don't know, Michael. Well, guess what? I'm sorry, but we're all gonna do it. No, we don't. We don't have to. I'm gonna treat you as a resource and say, if you don't want to do it, it's okay. But we're gonna practice something, and if you care to practice, we're gonna put you into some breakout rooms, right? You can do three things. There's three roles to play here, right? One is going to be the recovery coach, right? One is going to be person in recovery seeking help from a recovery coach. And then everybody else can play anything that they want. Family members, something else. And this is what we do in the RCA. We have a lot more time to do it in the RCA, so we're not going to do it as long as we do it. But we're going to try to break you down into like 3 groups, Travis. I need 3 individuals. And then this is going to be kind of challenging for the centers, but this is what I thought of. Put them into their own separate breakout rooms. And then I would encourage you to practice there at the center, right? Pair up or in 3s. I'm looking for 3 individuals, really, because I need somebody to observe. I need that fly on the wall. Fly on the wall is very important because that person sees 2 sides of things, right? And they can bring us that feedback. Yes, I'm putting a job on you guys. Who's ever the observer is going to come back as the reporter. They're going to be the recorder and the reporter, right? Whoever you pick, that's up on to you, right? To pick whoever you want. But I'm going to give you a scenario. And I'm going to ask somebody to please, or I'm going to ask everybody, right, to jot it down. Write it down where you can. Get a piece of paper to jot it down. Because I'm going to give you this scenario, right? And we're going to role play this scenario that I came up with. Pretty good scenario. I had other scenarios, but I was like, this right here is something that really did happen, right? And I love that Victor brought that up, like real case scenarios that really happen, because then you get some you're gonna get different results, but you're gonna get real raw results, right? If you get something that really happened. I'm not saying that we're here to solve anything, right? But we want to see what it initiates, right? So, but write this down. And it's funny because Betty, this is just a coincidence, but the scenario is about Betty. I love it. Maybe you could play Betty, right? When you get in the room. But Betty has 2 months in recovery. Again, Betty has 2 months in recovery. And after a fight with her partner, she gives you a call. And she tells you that she's sitting in front of the liquor store and it's 7:30 at night. She calls you, her recovery coach, and she's unsure if she can resist going in. I'll repeat that again. I'm going to repeat it again so everybody can write it down, okay? So Betty is a person in recovery, 2 months, and after fighting with her partner, she's sitting in front of a liquor store at 7:30 p.m. and she calls you, her recovery coach, unsure if she could resist going in to the liquor store. Right? We're going to give you guys 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes. They're like, Michael, that's not enough time. We're not here to solve anything. We just want to initiate, right? Initiate that conversation, right? And bang, let's see where it takes off, where that plane lands. I'm saying that this plane has no designation, right? It's flying up in the air and it might not even land by the time you come back, right? But what you have is good enough. I guarantee it. All right. Does anybody need me to reread the scenario before we go in? All right. 15 minutes. Yep. 15 minutes. Have fun.
Here we go.
Awesome. So how was it? And I see David got his hand up, so he's going to tell us how it was. How did it go?
It was great. I love being the fly on the wall because one of the things that helps me do, which I need practice on, is being an active listener and quelling my desire to interject, my desire to help, and just be present and listen. And our addict Betty was great. They gave the coach lots of connecting points. Overwhelmed, trust broken, hurt by this significant other partner, can't breathe, no point of doing this, discouraged, losing trust and looking for a way out. And with that, it gave the coach these nuggets that they could cling on to. And the coach immediately recognized and honored, yeah, I understand how you feel, and that hurts. But look what you did. You called me. And then the coach led this into, so cheerleading. We as coaches need to find ways to lift these people up, to lift them up and let them recognize that guess what? Yeah, you're an addict. Yeah, it's been a shit time, but look what you did, and celebrate the living hell out of that. And then the coach also dug back in and said, so what happens? What happens when you decide to go into there? And even with 2 months of recovery, Betty was able to go, I returned to the same shit, the same chaos, the same misery that brought me here. And I'm helpless, I'm hopeless. And it was like, yeah. And I interjected at the end is, I'm going to capitalize on that. You're right. What can we do? Where can we go? And the coach was awesome. I mean, Pete was awesome. He pulled out examples. He's like, at 7:30, can you get in a meeting? No, they're done. Do you have a sponsor? Or family? No, they wouldn't answer my call. This is fucking real life, man. That happens. I can't always get back to my sponsees' immediate requests, and it hurts. But the coach helped Betty find, hey, there are virtual ideas. Can we just get you away? And then the coach was like, can we just get you out of the temptation? Is there a place you can go right now where you can relax, where you can calm down and re-regulate and reground yourself? And Betty was like, well, there's a diner across the street. And he's like, yeah, go there. So it was awesome. Pete did an awesome job of finding other resources, helping direct her into a better position. And Betty was awesome. Gave plenty of nuggets of where we could go and how we could do this, and expressing the feelings. And I shared at the end with my group that one of the things that is hard for me, and that I've been actively learning and embracing with the constant changes that are happening in my education, in my experience, is curiosity. Gabor Mate was the first person that said, you gotta ask questions. You gotta be curious. You've got to drive down deep and remain curious without answers. Let them feel. When you're curious and you open this opportunity for a person to express their feelings, capitalize on, oh, you're feeling overwhelmed. Where's that coming from? How does that feel in you? What's your reaction to it? And so from CCAR, then I got the next piece of the equation that I shared with the recovery and with the coach. The two most powerful questions I have ever learned in my life, I learned at CCAR. It is one, patience, dramatic pauses to allow things to calm down and ask, what do you want? And then to ask, what do you need right now? Those two questions will open up a litany of how the coach can connect, how the coach can honor and hold space for this person, and maybe even find some solutions, because sometimes people don't need a solution. Sometimes they don't need a direction or a Band-Aid. Sometimes they just need to be heard and felt. And just diving into that emotion alone can bring, oh my God, I'm being seen. I'm being honored. My feelings are real. And saying that, your feelings are real. Good, bad, ugly, they're your feelings. They are telling you, they are giving you encoded and direct messages of how the world is making you feel at this moment. And if I can dive into those feelings and I can dig into that core and I can ask them, what do you need? What do you want? It opens up a vulnerability that is amazing. And what else did I get from CCAR? When I ask those two questions and they answer these and they feel them and they see that there's someone connecting with them, there's someone holding space for them, they usually answer their own questions, and I have very little work to do other than to celebrate their growth. And that is the most rewarding place as a recovery coach that I have found. I didn't do shit, man. I just sat there. I sat there with you. I gave you space. I recognized your feelings. I said, it's okay to feel that way. It sucks, but I'm here and you're here. You came here. That phone was no longer 10,000 pounds. That's what I got.
Thank you. Priscilla.
I can't add to that. That was like a lot. But I was just my group, or the group that I was in, it was Betty was Wanda, and then so she was the person in recovery, and Victor was the recovery coach, and I got the opportunity to be a observer. So great job, team. I appreciated Victor reminding her, that it's late, it's 7:30 at night, and then said, good for calling, and gave positive feedback and reinforcements he asked really good questions, you know, what's the plan? You know, what are you thinking? Where are you sitting right now? Have you gone in the liquor store yet? And then as the conversation went, Victor shared a little bit about his story. And I remember times like that where I was on the verge of using myself. And then again, he reminded her that, you know, that what the time is and the boundaries. And he walked through, like, where do you have to go tonight that's safe? And one of the really positive things was he reiterated on a scale of 1 to 10 how safe would be for you to go back home. And then again, on the scale of 1 to 10, the verge of ready to drink. So the idea that he said that, you know, do you have a safe place to go? And she had a friend's house that she could go to, but it was late and but she didn't think that person would turn her away. So Victor agreed to keep the phone line open while she was driving over there because she didn't go in the liquor store. She hadn't drank. So he was going to make sure that she got into where she was going to go safely. And then they made arrangements to meet tomorrow morning. And of course, I smile because this is one of the great things is, yeah, I'll meet you tomorrow morning and we could have a Starbucks coffee and reiterate that. The only thing that the thing that is it's a challenge when someone, you know, I always say these things happen at night or Friday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and what are you going to do with this information? The only feedback would be for not just our team, but any team. When you're having someone, when I think for myself, when I meet somebody, I do my best to make sure that they have other community connections. You know, is there a recovery meeting they could go to? Is there someone church support, family support, or even going to the friend's house and calling the AA hotline or similar, anything like that to have that conversation with someone. But I thought they did a great job. And Victor, I wonder if you had a little check sheet there going, you know, this, tell me where you're on the scale of 1 to 10. And because she didn't want to go to the shelter. She didn't want the police involved. And she did have a safe friend to go. And I think I heard Victor repeat that twice to make sure that she was going to go to a friend's house rather than go back home where it was chaos. So I, you know, providing the, how am I saying that? You know, repeating what the person said, this is what I hear you're saying, this is what the plan is going to be, and we will connect tomorrow morning. And, you know, it is late. So, in a perfect world, these things would happen between whatever 9 and 3, but it usually is 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. So that's my always thing, to make sure that your recoveries have other community connections. And that was when I always gave people those mental health or AA phone lines, even with the idea, if I know that you hate those meetings, but if you need a person to talk to who's struggling, they do answer the phone. Not saying you have to go to the meeting, but it is helpful to have extra persons instead of like, I am just the community. So having other people in their life, and that's where all those pathways come in. And I can text you a list just in case you're willing to use it. So anyway, great job, team.
Thank you, Priscilla. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
DRCC.
I have to get going, but thank you all very much. I love the role playing.
Awesome. Thank you, Wanda.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
You too. Bye-bye.
DRCC.
Okay, so the two that I had was, I observed the coach who received a phone call from the recovery sitting in front of the liquor store at 7:30 at night, and he convinced her, thank goodness, to walk and meet at a local Dunkin' Donuts so that they can have a conversation about her feelings, which she was expressing thoughts of the domestic violence and having mixed feelings whether she wanted to go into the liquor store, especially after she did the 2 months, and she did not want to really go, she knew about the 2 months. She had the mixed feelings, and he was able to get her to walk away from there. And after her expressions, he's like, well, how can I help you? How can I help you stay clean? Being that you've done the 2 months and you did a very well job. So what else can I help you with? And so they talked about an IOP. The recovery is the one that suggested going to a place during the day to be safe, but she was worried about the transportation part, but they got that clear. She's gonna walk. She doesn't have a vehicle. They worked on a schedule for this place during the day. And then he asked her, how did you start yourself getting clean? Because she really didn't have a clear plan. And so that's where this IOP comes from, going to get help at a local behavioral place. He makes the time pass by asking her these questions, including, are you safe? She did suggest that she may have a friend's house to go to, but she'd rather not. Because she knew by this time, going back to the house, everything, for the most part, has calmed down. And I thought it went great. The suggestions of doing meetings was also an option. And that's all I got for now.
I love it. Thank you. We had a few other groups. I would love to hear from at least one more group if we can. Maybe Willie. Or was that? Yeah, maybe, yeah. You guys want to share?
Hello.
Hi.
We just did like a short kind of version of the role play because I was asking a lot of questions about it after about how to be better at sort of speaking as like a recovery coach because I'm an intern from like my university, social work student, so I kind of need a little bit of practice on that, but it was really good. It was honestly, it was a good prompt. I had a hard time with it because I struggle with role play, but yeah, it was good.
That's awesome. I love that you said I struggle with role play, but you still did it. You got out your comfort zone and still did it.
Thank you.
Kudos. Thank you. So let's look at some key takeaways. We got 15 minutes left, and I want to be able to share this with you, and I'm going to share some little bit of resources with you as well, right? That hopefully will help you out. So this next, where we at? Oh, the key takeaways. This next slide, I got these 2 points, but I wanted to really bring it on y'all, right? What are the key takeaways? What was learned through doing, right? And how can it support you in real life coaching for your recoveries? I wrote something down as well. I got after going through this myself, right? And preparing for this, my key takeaway was don't just live in theory, be in live practice, right? So these frames and reflections can help you and guide you through helping individuals in recovery, right? Are you gonna mess up? Yeah, you might, right? We might not say things right. And I think discovering and managing our own stuff is gonna help out a lot. right? We have discussions with individuals. We get in these role plays and real life plays, right? Real plays, right? And then all of a sudden, even when somebody says something that it doesn't really fall right with you, right? We have to learn how to discover and manage our own stuff, right? And then be that, like David was saying about the curiosity, right? And I always believe it takes three things to be a great coach, right? And these three things is to be curious, to remain teachable, and to always believe that everybody can get in recovery, right? And honestly believe that anybody can get in recovery. And I think having those three things, right? And then having that open mind and the curious heart coming in here, like I did today with you all, right? I didn't know how this was going to turn out or how it was, how it was going to open up, but it was great. It was great to learn from individuals. I got my own notes from individuals, and I'm hoping you got some stuff out of it. There is some resources. I asked Travis to see if he could look it up and put it in the chat. But there's a resource on like a space where you can practice, right? Those role plays. It is an AI, so it's an AI bot but you can go on there, and it's in the chat now. The link is there. It's called Open Recovery, and I'm not an expert on it, right? And I just was looking at it the other day just for a little bit, but it's there for us to use as a tool, right? I do these support collaboratives for facilitators twice a month. And that's what it's for really, right? For us to practice with each other, right? I hold that space so individuals can bring your ideas there. And I encourage you all, right, to have your own support collaboratives, right? The recovery community centers can have recovery coach support collaboratives, right? Once a week. If in your states, you look at any recovery resources that you have, a space where you can practice this and bring this to people to practice, I think is better for you as a coach to do that, right? To better prepare yourself and to learn from others, right? Because yeah, like I said, we're gonna make these mistakes, but how is it that we're gonna learn? And I think it's by accepting things we can't change, right? And having the courage to really move forward. Because if you stay stuck on one thing and we're there, and then somebody comes in your office to get help, but you're still stuck on another thing and not prepared for that, what's coming in, I think it's gonna be real bad for you in general, right? Self-care goes with this all too, right? But I'm hoping that everybody takes this for what it was, and it's a lesson, right? Of let's keep practicing. Let's keep practicing as coaches to be better. Any thoughts before we wrap up? I got one final thought. You can put that last, skip the next one and then go to the last one. Yeah, right there. Thank you, Travis. I got that from online, which I thought it was kind of a cool little quote right there, right? Can somebody want to read it out loud?
Sure, I'll read it.
Thank you.
You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your practice. James Clear.
Cool little quote, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if I could, I just have a couple of thoughts to share, somewhat quickly, I think. So this has been really great. And for me, I think what's been very beneficial is really, making the connection or the parallels to, like, you know, how practice and preparation and then actually doing it, right, is used across a bunch of different fields, like we were talking earlier about sports and athletics and stuff. Um, and I think that like it has carryover for a lot of different aspects in our lives. So I thank you all, Michael, and you folks at CCAR for sharing this with us and encouraging us to think about, encouraging me to think a little bit differently about, you know, role play. And it's fun, it's interesting because I just completed a ethics training yesterday, and you know, actually this was a pretty good group. They were pretty open to doing the role play and stuff, but you know, probably like others have seen, right? There's always some reluctance, some hesitancy, and for all the reasons that were mentioned. So sharing these insights with us today is really helpful and will help me, right, to kind of think about some different ways to encourage people to just kind of, you know, let themselves have the fun of being in practice so that they can enhance and improve their skills. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man, for participating and sharing your thoughts, man. You guys are a good group, and I can tell that you value this recovery coaching a lot, right? And I think that, yes, we're going to make mistakes, but we're here to learn from each other, right? And let's make it that. Let's make it a learning session for one another, right? Every time we go in these spaces, and that we can be able to hear our differences, right? And be able to discover and manage our own stuff with it, right? Appreciate y'all. Take care of yourselves.